goes down low. The 79 gets caught up in it just at the very end. The 67, though, of Nathan Stanley makes it on through free and clear. He, Paul Bertiani, and Larry Dickerson having a drag race down in the for one last attack, getting underneath him, not quite able to make it stick, having to lift once again. Oh, into exit of turn number 4, down onto the front straightaway here. Who's going to win it with the drag race? It's going to be Timothy Pope. First 3 and 4, 751 with a hefty lead here, about a half a car length as the one gets up into the wall with a run down. 200 feet. It's going to be a close one across the line. Derek Welsh made it 3 wide on the far outside lane, picking up spots left and right here as everybody fighting for every single spot we go. Coming across the line, white flag. So here we go, final lap. Hello and welcome everybody to Sunday Night Racing Action with the NTRL Xfinity Series, taking on the big and wild track of Talladega here this evening. Oh man, we love this place as these drivers all get warmed up and get underway here in qualifying. Let's get things all kicked off for tonight with the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And welcome back. As always, the NTRL wouldn't be happening without some fantastic sponsors such as JP Designs and 3D Prints. Be sure to go check them on out for some iRacing paint schemes and some button boxes and whatnot. Big thank you also to Track Bar Media as well. Great promo videos and photography. Be sure to go and check them on out. Of course, big thank you to Admin Boxx as well. Always coming on through there with a good button box for race control admins. Also a big thank you to, like I said, Track Bar Media there. Also big thank you to Sim Gear Central as well. Some good button boxes being built up over there. TrackDogsRacing.com. Be sure to check them out as they're the premier merchandise supplier of the NTRL and AAA broadcasting. As well as big thank you to Davidson Builders, your action replay camera sponsor. as well as the NTG trucking community. Be sure to head on over there in the Discord if you like playing ATS and ETS, and join one of the fastest growing companies on Trucksbooks. As always, I'm Alan Brown, and I am joined by two of my best friends, one of which is here in the booth with me, Mr. Alan English. Alan, we return here to Talladega once again for some high-speed action. Looking forward to the 3 wide. Sometimes we've seen 4 wide, and that's all about the allure of this great track here tonight.
Yeah, and there's room for 4 wide here. Not always preferable to do that, but it can be done here, and we've seen it before. Yeah, a little bit wider than Daytona. I'm sorry, here at Talladega Super Speedway. So, and we're going to see a lot of action on that back stretch. Guys getting a big head of steam there, and maybe some get some good runs. And we always like watching that outside line try to pull away, and guys trying to clear the inside line. Coming into turn 3 there, we see that merry-go-round up in the front of the field. So we're going to have a lot of lead changes here tonight, I predict, and maybe some carnage too as well. So stay tuned for that.
That indeed is down there on pit road, ready for all the beating and banging action. Mr. Adam Turner. Adam, we come on back here to one of our, especially your favorite tracks here. Tempers can flare up there when these guys are starting to bump draft each other, and it's going to be something to definitely watch out for.
God, I hope so. That's all I ever hope for, I think. It's just somebody to get angry and maybe throw their wheel or curse somebody out or flip them the bird. Something fun. Just some family fun feuding here at Talladega. And I think you're right. This track, it's a little risky. You can get caught up and into a pack of guys that you're not really familiar with, and they may just turn you. So a lot of team stuff here. Cool track. I mean, it's kind of one of the favorites on the circuit, I think, from everybody. But tonight, 1 fast repair, 70% fuel, 5 sets of tires. You get 25 incident points. You'll be disqualified. 18, you'll start getting a penalty. And it's currently 110 on the track, so it's a little warm, but I don't think we need to worry about any kind of tire grip or anything here. Just cut it loose.
Cutting it loose indeed, as we take a look at that race info here for this 2.66 mile racetrack here. You can see there that the start finish line always adds into that extra little bit of excitement, where these drivers have to go that extra couple 100 feet from where that kind of tri-oval area is, and it's that tiny little short shoot where we've seen some fantastic finishes. But weather looking absolutely beautiful out here tonight, or I should say today in Sim, bringing us down to that key to the race. And quite honestly, I have kind of run out of ideas for this track of what to bring up, so good luck.
Yeah, you're gonna need it, right?
You're
to stay out of all the scrums that are gonna happen out there, and do some superstitious stuff. Maybe carry a rabbit's foot. Somebody to I don't know, throw a black cat under a ladder or bust a mirror over somebody's head. I don't know what you got to do to get any good luck here at this track, but you got to do something. Riding in the back, I think, is what a lot of guys are going to do. Me and Turner kind of agree on that strategy here, at least at the first part of this race. Try to stay with the lead pack if you can, or at least stay on the lead lap for as long as you can here. Hope for a caution to stack everybody back up later and maybe give yourself a better chance.
Yeah, that's the plan I would always go with. However, tonight I believe this is the last race of the regular season before we go into the old playoff stuff. So if there's anyone on the bubble, trying to get into the playoffs, they may be a little bit rowdier than the rest. I don't have that list in front of me, so we'll find out though.
Well, so far an impressive qualifying attempt here by Kevin Winker in the 42. It looks like he's on his second lap in reverse.
Ooh, with a J turn. Almost got it.
He was doing about 85, 86 miles an hour in reverse, trying to finish his entire qualifying effort in the R gear there.
The race gear.
Yeah, means real fast, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's how that engine's gonna get blown up real fast. But it kind of reminds me, we should have done that, Mr. English, when we were doing. I know we were messing around, seeing, especially at these tracks, because I was like you guys. I'd like to start in the back. We would see who could not do the quickest of qualifying laps, but do the slowest without stopping. That was that was always some fun. We never did it in reverse. That would have been pretty fun.
That would have been a good challenge. I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, would be fun.
As
These guys are gonna have fun tonight, I think.
That I am sure, as we're competing against some Sunday night-ish football going on.
Yep, got some conference playoffs going on right now.
I got one eye on that. I got one eye on this. That's all you really need.
I like this static blimp shot you got here up on the broadcast, because you can really see, how this track was once an Air Force base. You got that long stretch there. What do they call that big long stretch? Where all the RVs are parked down the middle of Talladega. It's where the good times are happening, usually. But you can definitely see where the old taxiways and runways and stuff were.
I don't know. Is that what do you call it? Party row?
Something like that. I can't remember. Maybe somebody else.
I've never been to that one, but I can assure you, it is definitely a party.
Of that, I am most definitely sure. As our drivers finish up qualifying, and we have our starting grid set here this evening. 751, Mike Adamson in the Silent Assassin. He's going to get things started off there on pole position. Just as outside is the 69 of Larry Dickerson, starting there second place. You got the 747 Albert Anderson starting right behind Mike here in third, with the 1 of Bogus DW Derek Welsh starting in fourth. The 42 Kevin Winker going to start here in fifth this evening, with the 00 of Joe Bennett starting in sixth. Seventh will be the 26 of David E. Brown, and the 19 of Justin Lawson on his outside there in eighth. Ninth will be the 13 of Paul Durkee, with the 18 of Chris Klein rounding out tonight's starting top 10.
31 car of Scott Milner will start in 11th place. On his outside, the 79 of Timothy Stubblefield. Nick Biddy in the 32 will start 13th. 14th will be Dylan Bryant in the 03. Brandon Coleman in the 8 will start 15th. 16th will be Josh Kelleher in the 73. Paul Ferdiani in the 33. The Gambler will start in 17th place. Nathan Stanley in the 67. Old Cubby, he'll start in 18th place. 19th, the 4 of Anthony Williams. Joe David in the 9 will round out your top 20.
Oh, I'll do the last three here. 81, Michael McCauley. He'll start 21st. 23, Mark Collins. 22nd and 63, Dave Holmberg. He'll end it up there in 23rd. That's not a bad spot for any of those three right there.
No, not at all. So looks like there's a car whose engine might have shut off there. Took a minute to get refired as the field starts to kind of get stacked up behind this pace car, and try to get up underway here in just a few moments. As always, we welcome everybody on in, and thank you guys for tuning in and watching, as we always appreciate it. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell, so that way you get alerted every time that we do go live. And just a reminder to everybody that tomorrow night is going to be the championship race for the Next Gen Cup Series. So be sure to, especially if you're one of those fans of the race, be sure to stick around, because we got a drawing for a great keyboard. And if you haven't qualified yet, join us tomorrow night, and you could possibly be the last qualifier. Just join us there in chat and talk with us and have some fun.
Yeah, we want to thank all the people that are joining us in the chat tonight. Stub Nation is out there in force tonight. Jessica Stubblefield, Jennifer Ray, Rebecca Davis, all pulling for Stubbs out there. Adam Strom's joining us as well. Paul Ferdiani pulling for his team out there, plus EV Racing. Justin Lawson, down. Let's go Team Goats. And Jessica Stubblefield saying, yes, I'm hoping for that keyboard. That's a fancy RGB light up mechanical keyboard that they're giving away tomorrow. So definitely stay tuned to us and tune in tomorrow, because we're going to find out who wins that thing.
Yeah, that indeed. And we don't even know the official rules if you have to be in chat to win that one. So just to be safe, be sure you show up.
Oh, I got you. I see what you did there. Pace car's down.
Indeed, as the pace car is down and off. As here we go, off and running side by side. Cross the line, green flag racing for the first time here this evening. The 751 with Albert getting a good jump of a run here off the get-go. The 69 is going to slide on down onto that bottom row in between the 747 and the 42. Everything's kind of single filing out here. Man, oh man, it looks like the one is down like 80 horsepower right now. Just how quickly that bottom row has gotten all grouped up together here as the 13 squeezing his way on up. He says, hey, don't worry, I got you guys. We got to run. He's going to pick up the back bumper here of the 42, trying to make a run here up towards the front. The 32, Nick Biddy, trying to figure some things out. Same thing with that 31 of Scott Milner there as well. As we are definitely off and running now, gentlemen, as we have completed our first lap here tonight. That 42 machine trying to guide that outside lane along, try to get them back up here kind of towards the front so we could see some side-by-side racing. Everything trying to get all knotted back up here. Little close racing there as well. But we also got Paul Ferdiani trying to guide now. He's got some help there in front of him there in the 8 of Brandon Coleman, trying to get some people here like the 67 and the 73 to catch on up back to this main group here. Thankfully, it doesn't look like anyone's lost the draft too much here. A couple people hanging off the back like Mark Collins and Dave Holmberg in that 63. But here we go, all tight back on up here at the front as the 751 and the 42 go side by side.
I was trying to figure out what was up with the one there, if he just shifted too early or he just didn't have enough aero help. And it looks like what you described is that they just weren't as tight up there on that high line as that low line was. And they just kind of run off and left them temporarily, of course, because, you know, these things draft so well. And look, everybody's stacked back up again.
Boy, oh boy, we got some wiggling going on there behind that 42 of Kevin Winker. You can see Paul Durkee there. He is on him like white on rice, just absolutely putting that bumper to work here early, trying to get that early run as they make their way through turns 3 and 4 there. Everyone getting all stacked up 3 wide kind of towards the tail end of this field. Joe David, I think, picked up a run and decided to bop out to the far outside lane. He's going to shuffle his way backwards a couple of spots. It's no big deal for him right now. You know, he's back here 18th, 19th, 20th. So just doing little things like that. If you get a run, maybe not quite ready to make a push forward just yet, you can, you know, pop out to that outside lane, lose those couple of spots, but be in a place that you're going to feel more comfortable in as the 42 of Kevin Winker with that outside run. Big push there from the 1 and the 13, getting on out in front of the 751. And so he's going to take control of this race now.
Snaking up towards the front.
Yeah, they are. And this is kind of what we see. Winker is really good at these plate tracks, and so is Adamson and Anderson. So we should see a good battle with those teams tonight. Looks like right now Winker is besting them, but it's still way too early. But here, just stay with the main pack. That's all you got to do here.
Hey, the 33, the Gambler, Paul Ferdiani, looking to the far outside lane here, trying to maybe pick up a run, but he's got the Stanley machine coming up behind him. That's that 67 of Cubby, trying to pick up some extra spots here, maybe help him on out. as they continue to turn some laps. But in terms of the snake in here, could it be a mix between, normally we don't say that the track temp really has too much of a play in the tire wear here and all that at these plate tracks, but these Xfinity cars are notoriously, back end loose. They just don't have that grip coming out of, the aerodynamics and whatnot. Could some of that be slipping and sliding here a little bit?
I think it's more of a fact that these guys, you can't see in front of that car that you're right on their back bumper. You can't see where the turn starts and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's just, guys trying to follow that car, and everybody's reaction time is going to be just a little bit delayed, especially if they're unfamiliar with how quick those turns can come up. So a little bit of blinking there out of the number 1 NTG machine. The 00 Joe Bennett continues to push him there on the outside lane.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what would cause that snaking, other than it is very hard to control these things sometimes with the wind coming off the other cars, and
there's a lot going on with the aero.
Yeah, right. And especially when you're in like a pack of other cars, it tends to do some things you're not really used to. Ferdiani and Stanley are on the outside trying to make a run 3 wide here.
And they've been kind of stuck out there, really not gaining or losing anything right now. As looks like the 67 goes up, snags the outside wall just a little bit. That is the risk that you run when you go up there 3 wide. It's not necessarily tight. There's definitely plenty of room for it, but definitely have to have a good handle on that race car. The 81 of Michael McCauley trying to jump on board on this train to the outside. Ooh, little firm of a bump there. Even doing a little bit of a fender bending there to the 67.
Yeah, a little contact early. It's kind of early for that, boys. Be careful out there.
Been up the back end of the 67 Toyota for sure. Wonder if that's going to slow him down.
Well, right now it is, but he's also kind of fallen back out of the draft he was in there with that 33 of Paul Ferdiani. Things kind of settled down just a little bit, but to kind of go back onto one of those points that you made there, Mr. English, on when you're one of these cars in the middle of the field and you're right up on the car in front of you, you're right, you cannot see what is up in front of you. But one of the favorite things that I would do was if I was up in in the second row, right behind the leaders of each row, I would drive using the other guy's windshield. I wouldn't be looking through mine. I'd be looking through his, and then as you trickle on back, I just pick a point on my car, whether it be my hood or whatever. And you got the dashed lines on going up the track and the yellow line down there down low, and I just try to keep that point on my hood right there on that yellow line.
Sure, yeah. Use a landmark. Use a known spot in space. You're going to be able to keep track of there. That's a good way of doing it. Paul Ferdiani was looking to the outside again. He's trying it again. The trouble is, this early, it's going to be tough to get people to go with you on that third line and try to make it work here this early. I think most of these guys, what they got in their head right now is just go out there and click off laps and try to stay safe.
He just dropped down, but he must just like riding out there. But when you're riding out there by yourself, aren't you using up a little bit more fuel than the other guys?
Well, you're definitely not running 3/4 throttle like you would right behind somebody. Like if he stays behind Coleman here in the 8, he's not going to have as much. Or I'm sorry, no, that is Brandon Coleman. Just making sure that you're saving a little bit of fuel here. Is we got the 03 Dylan Bryant trying a little run on the outside here. He's going to lose a few spots.
Yeah, that he is, and you know what? I was kind of surprised, but not surprised by that move, because he had just already seen, the 33 attempt to go out there a few times, and maybe he was trying to time it just right, maybe not in quite the communication that he was quite thinking of here. Is the 81, is that Cocoa Puffs on the 81 machine?
Ah,
it is.
Cocoa Puffs. Michael McCauley.
Hey, that's pretty dang good. I enjoyed that.
That's a cool paint.
As he's starting to kind of try to filter his way on up through the field.
Never had.
Ooh, 42.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
People scattering.
scattering. Got people. Oh, we do have a couple.
Responsibility for it there.
And got a couple people having some issues there. Oh, the 23 of Mark Collins definitely having a bad time out there, missing 3/4 of his vehicle here. Let's go ahead and take a check back and see what happened up here at the front for Kevin Winker to get all squiggly like that. Here, let's kind of take a look-see.
Double fill with some damage resulting from that as well.
Ooh, the 03, the 81. Yeah. Oh, man.
All Durkee apologizing on the radio. You know, he just wasn't lined up just right, I guess.
It's what it looked like from our first camera angle there. Let's go ahead and jump on up here to the chopper camera to kind of see things. And oh yeah, it wasn't even close to lined up when they touched it.
Yeah, Shauna Flick saying, "Let's go Winker," over there on the YouTube channel. She must have typed that right as this was happening. Just, yeah, he just wasn't lined up with Winker there, and Paul Durkee sends him around.
You can see
Yeah, only one faster pair too. So,
ooh,
Yeah.
oh boy.
Albert Anderson diving down, going down pit road about 160 miles an hour, trying to avoid this.
well, I know what he was thinking. He didn't know if something was going to come out of nowhere to just take him out. So that was a good move going down pit lane.
Yeah, more than likely they're going to clear that black flag from Albert just because he went down to avoid a wreck. He wasn't trying to gain an advantage there.
As it looks like
On the
everybody
pit road, they're usually pretty lenient about it. Go ahead, bud.
as everybody coming on down, topping up on that Sunoco race fuel. 751 winning that race off of pit road. 26 of David E. Brown getting a good time down there on pit road, followed by Milner, Ferdiani, Joe David, Nick Biddy, got the double O, Joe Bennett with a pretty good time. And then you got DW. I think he might have gotten some manual damage fixed there, a little bit longer of a pit stop. Albert Anderson getting pretty much a full stop there. Same thing with Josh Kelleher and Chris Klein. Of course, tires really never going to run into an issue here. They do have them just in case they flat spot them or have a little bit of a spin out. As looks like Kevin Winker, I don't know if might be speeding on pit road or something. He's been sitting down there for a good second.
Let's see. He had a meatball flag. He might be getting some manual damage. I'm not sure. I think that was him with a meatball flag. Disappeared.
He did hit the wall pretty hard.
Flag for him for speeding, but that doesn't mean there wasn't one. First caution this early in the race, that's going to kind of set the tone, I think. Here is you gotta talk about it. Cautions breeding more cautions. They did clear Albert Anderson's black flag for entering pit road there to avoid the wreck.
Yeah, that indeed is. Looks like the 81 of McCauley still stuck down there on pit road as well. So hopefully he can rejoin these guys without going that one lap down here. He's gonna be cutting it close.
I know some guys like to have that fast repair unchecked, and they just want to check it when they need it. But oh man, sometimes that can come back and bite you in the ass. I hope that's not what happened down there. That cat sitting on pit road.
Well, he's coming out now, but his car, the front end looks terrible as far as aero goes, and we know aero is huge here. So it was definitely a gamble not using that fast repair. See if he can just stick with the pace of the race.
is it really going to hurt him that bad, though, if he can stay, with a couple of cars to draft? I mean, if he can stay on the lead lap, he'll be fine because we know we're going to get another caution here. I don't think there's any doubt about it now.
Oh, for sure. But look at the back of Winker. He's got no tail end, looks like. So he tried the manual repair as well.
Oh, I see now, yeah.
Well, it's more filled in than what it was. That's going to be a lot of Bondo putting some weight on that rear axle there. As we all get to kind of back knotted up together here. We got Adamson and Brown going to get things started off here as soon as that pace car gets down and out of the way. As long as Mr. Petty isn't driving that thing.
Little conversation between the two guys involved in the front right there in that wreck. Paul Fardiani, or I'm sorry, Paul Durkee apologizing once again to 42 at Winker, and Winker saying, man, don't worry about it. These cars seem like they're on edge, all the time anyway. It doesn't take much to upset them. Just hitting somebody just a little bit not square will definitely do the job.
As the driver's gonna take notice here tonight, as first caution now complete, and pace car getting down and out of the way. You got the 33 of Ferdiani with the 31 of Milner starting in the second row here. So how about that? Some good work there. Up 14 spots for that 33 of Ferdiani, fighting on that far outside lane there earlier on in that first little run. As speaking of the run, these guys get up and run here once again down to that Geico restart zone, and off we go. Big break there from the 751, trying to get off the line quickly. The 26 trying to squeeze on down, but the 31 is there. Quick 3-wide action going on up here at the front as this thing gets restarted. The 33 of Ferdiani jumps to that far outside lane. He does have some help there with him. Looks like that's the 32. Nick Biddy trying to help him on out as we got cars going all over the place here. Man, this is a restart of all restarts. Everybody trying to fight and dig for every position. 31 doing some door checking there. Is the 26 getting left behind there in the middle lane?
Dickerson in the 69 bailed. He said, I don't want no part of this. Put me in the back. And 32 of Biddy finally able to drop on down to the middle as here comes that gambler. The 33 of Paul Ferdiani dropping all the way down right in front of that 751 of Mike Adamson as the 26 gave him one final good shove here. But now the 26 coming with a big run here from the 32 to take the lead over from the 33. Some good running up here up at the front. We do have some people kind of trickling back off the pace, not in the draft right now. You got the 81 of Michael McCauley. Looks like he did eventually end up. No, he didn't. The hood's a little hard to tell, but if he didn't, he's definitely down on some power, having some issues there. 747 of Albert Anderson started in the back, even though his black flag was cleared. Once when you kind of get a black flag in iRacing, it's still going to send you to the end of the longest line. Kevin Winker as well, kind of trailing these guys, just down on the aerodynamics, down on the power here, as the 26 and the 33 continue to go side by side here at the front. The 26 is now clear the 33. Is he going to drop on down? He's not. He's still going to stay up there, up on that high side. Yeah, he likes it up there. He's got to take advantage of it here if we can get some of these guys to kind of close the gap up a little bit and get a little bit better run, especially take advantage of that backstretch, that Alabama gang super straightaway there, super backstretch, whatever they call it. Get that momentum, carry it into 3, try to make that pass.
Excuse me.
Looks like pretty much everybody's behaving at the moment. Pretty much straight and narrow here. I don't see too much wiggling at the moment, but that could change quickly with the draft and everything. Who dropped down there in front? That was a pretty good move. Yeah.
Biddy saw the gap there. He saw the run the 33 was getting with Mike Adamson pushing and said, I want a piece of that action. He went ahead and dropped down the low line.
And so we can ride around here with Timothy Stubblefield. He's dropping down to the apron, maybe trying to pick up a little air, maybe getting a little bit warm. But Tim, you got to stop hitting those bugs, man. Where that camera is, we can't have it blocked by any of those, guts and all that.
It'd be love bug season up here in Talladega.
Oh man, I hate that time of year.
Thankfully, we don't really have that up here. It gets too dang cold for them to really do anything during their off season.
26 got a pretty good shove from the one, but they just can't maintain that momentum up here. Pack it in just a little bit closer, maybe, because they're starting to wiggle some.
Well, what I've been seeing, though, is that when these guys do get a run on that outside lane, if the guy doesn't drop down, it doesn't allow the rest of the lane to get that push forward either, like with the get the lazy Susan in full effect and all that. And so it ends up doing what it does here. It just kind of checks them up. Like, watch, the 26 here, I think, on the back straight was going to get a big-time run, maybe even get a full car length there in front of the 32, but if he stays up there, it's just going to check everything on up again.
Yeah, you got these goats up here running together. They're doing everything they can. Stay together up there in that high line. You got the 8, the 19, and the 13 all running right there together. Oh, I actually think they're ECRC over here. They still have a goat on their car, though.
Yeah, it gets confusing. They have different team names and different leagues.
Guys.
Yeah.
It's a 42. A Winker goes up high here, getting lapped. He did come on down, use that fast repair. I think he realized he was just a little too damaged and didn't want to go more than one lap down. So using that fast repair and making sure he's back up to speed. And the good news is he timed it pretty good, where he came out only a few laps ago, and he was basically right back in here in this pack. And even though he's a lap down, he can race with these guys up here in this pack. He may not, fight for the lead quite yet. Maybe just try to stay out there. And he is the lucky dog right now, the only car that one lap down. So he really doesn't have too much to fight for right now. Just stay with these guys and stay clean.
Stay out of trouble. Don't pick up a single X if there's another incident here, because that'll kind of nullify your lucky dog there, even if you just barely touch somebody.
Yeah, we've seen that before, where you're on deck to get your lap back, and then you get involved, just touched in the incident, and kind of ruins your day.
It can even happen under caution. I mean, you can touch somebody and you lose your lucky dog.
It's 4 of Anthony Williams here, kind of one of the first cars back here, kind of tucked single file down there on the bottom line. He's got Stub Nation and Stubblefield sitting right behind him, as well as I think Larry Dickerson, who, like you said earlier there, when the things first restarted, as we go 3 wide here in the back. Probably not liking what he was seeing with the quick and early 3 wide off the get-go, deciding to bail on out really quick there on that last restart.
Yeah, I'm seeing some guys crossing that yellow line in the turns. You really got to watch that. The banking here is very, very steep, and that transition right there at the yellow line is very severe. So you can really lose some traction there and lose control of your car if you get across that yellow line. It looks like Double O Joe Bennett pushing the 42 a Winker on the outside line. They're really trying something up there.
Man, you ain't kidding. I mean, the 42, he had a big run to begin with to try to sneak his way out there. As the 33 of Ferdiani goes from lane to lane, trying to get the lead back here, jumping up back in front of, looks like that's the 26. David E. Brown still hanging out there on that far outside lane. Will the 33 drop on down? Yes, he will, and he takes the 26 with him. So the 26 finally deciding to give up the outside lane there to help out the 33.
Sometimes you got to work with people who aren't your teammates to make some stuff happen. And look at the huge run that outside line's getting.
Yeah, and we got a lap car right in front of him.
That's the
Mike McCauley in the Cocoa Puff car said he's going to be on that apron here.
good call there for McCauley to just kind of trickle his way off the racetrack and let these guys zoom on by here. It's causes less issues, and you know what? There's a lot of guys out here in this field that will remember that. Like, hey, this guy, he knew what was up. He just got down out of the way. If I see him back up here, back on the lead lap when this thing's coming to the end, you know, he's a gentleman. I might be willing to race with him. And like I said, not everybody can be an enemy here. You do have to make some friends, at least for a short while here.
Somebody might hold the door open for him to jump down into a low line or something on the last couple laps. We'll see.
Yeah, these guys definitely remember the good things and the bad things that have happened between the different racers and whatnot. So that'll put one in the good merit book for him in that Cocoa Puffs car.
Here we go. Coleman on the outside by his lonesome. See if anybody goes with him. It looks like the 9 and the 19 may be takers.
And the door closed, so he's not going to be able to get back down to that middle lane, but that's okay. He's going to have a teammate out there with him. I wonder if they're going to be working together here, maybe shuffle their way backwards as a big gap opened up between the 33 and the 42. So that checked up that bottom lane just a little bit. That 42, Kevin Winker trying to maybe get that lap back the hard way here. Loses those last couple of spots to the 26 and the 00. Picking up a big run there.
Well, Lawrence Stubblefield wants you to show everybody's the Stub Nation car. Well, he's just tooling around back there in 15th place, minding his own business. That's actually that's the place to be, right where he's at. I would consider him in a great position.
Be in the hunt, kind of.
Right. You can avoid, so you have a little bit of room to maybe avoid some of the stuff that happens in front of you.
He's got some escape routes, let's say.
Exactly.
Hailing up there from Tennessee, and on my way home I was listening to a couple of those Sirius XM, country stations and whatnot, and had two back-to-back songs with Orange in the title of them come on. I'm like, that's a little interesting there for those volunteers.
Orange, something in the orange. That's one song.
It could have been. Ooh, it's a little wall scrape there on that outside lane. Looks like it might have come from the 9 machine of Joe David.
Go again, the number 1 machine being pushed by the 18. They're getting they were having a decent run on the outside here. It looks like it's starting to fizzle out. David E. Brown leading the center line, pulling away from Derek Welch and his trailers behind him there.
And that outside lane losing support by the moment as the 9 drops on down to that middle lane, and looks like he's leaving the door open just a little bit there if the 1 wanted to sneak on down. I don't even know how to call this as we go 3 wide here. The 26 kind of being left there in the middle as the 8 and the 19 as well as the 13 trying to work together on that far outside lane. They will finally tuck back in behind that 26.
No team out here is working as close with each other as these ECRC guys. They're doing a great job of sticking together here and finding each other. I'm sure they're communicating really well on the radio. Ooh, 32 off pace a little bit here. Let's see where they go. Really nowhere to go with Davey Brown being up high. 32 Nick Biddy looked like he, I don't know if he looked down on power or he just lost his health or what there.
It's
But
been
they ebb and flow, right?
oh, absolutely.
These lines will get going and then they'll die out, though. Get going and die out.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and that's kind of what we saw there, and why it got a little confusing on what was going on. But that was just it. It was, you know, people trying to make their chess moves here. This is essentially a game of chess happening at dang near 200 miles an hour, where you're trying to figure out, okay, if this guy does this move, then I do that move. But if he does that move, you're thinking 18 moves ahead, and of course, what you don't see is that 19th move, and then you got to readjust.
Yeah, and another move they're going to start probably thinking about fairly soon would be some green flag pit stops. That's something else that they're going to have to figure out if we keep going green here.
And that indeed, we're approaching the kind of 20 lap mark here on this run. As yeah, man, that Reese's machine of the 31, he's been getting a little checked up there, even with some of that draft help. Oh, scrapes the outside wall a little bit there. No, just a tiny little bit of a love tap, but he's filtering his way backwards here.
Yeah, Miller kind of got stuck up outside there. Looks like he might have slid up the track a little bit, and Coleman just dove in there and took it. Albert Anderson announcing on the radio, hey, leaders, when you get up here to me, I'm going to dive down onto the apron.
Albert just got cut up a little bit tonight, it seems like.
Yeah, and he'll be your lucky dog and not Kevin Winker anymore once they make the pass on him here. And there he goes, staying on the apron down below the yellow line. Letting this lead pack go around. Being led right now by 00 Joe Bennett, with Winker and Ferdiani close behind.
And McCauley down there on the bottom line as well. He's now 2 laps down, so he's just praying to stay with these guys, not go any more down here as we go. We're approaching the halfway point already here, boys. It's definitely been flying by here pretty quick. They've only been racing for about half an hour here, and by the looks of it, this one's gonna be a pretty quick one here.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Jessica Stubblefield out there saying the real question is, Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes, who's going to go to the Super Bowl here in a couple of weeks? There's a game going on right now, kind of on in the background here at the house.
And who do I want? I want Burrow, but who will it be? It'll probably be Fatrick.
Oh, do you call him Fat Trick like he's fat?
Yeah, but it's a PH, not an F.
Oh, but he's got a PH fat wallet.
Yeah, he does. That's 00 Joe continues to lead these guys on around, but I think the Chiefs are just they're playing at home in Arrowhead. It's
tough place to play.
Tough, very tough place to play.
Andy Reid's got a deep bag of tricks, that's for sure. We've seen that over the years.
Reading off that McDonald's menu he keeps in his hand.
Yeah. They did a little hook and ladder play in the first quarter today. That was kind of.
He's got a lot of space to keep all those tricks. Giant coat and all.
Mary used to wear that. It was like a web belt, like a military web belt, with stuff.
Yeah, I did.
All over it. Back to the racing action here, side by side. Through this whole front pack still there, Brown. Nobody really willing to get out there and help anybody make a third line. Is that going to start changing here as we click on laps?
It will eventually, but right now, I mean, it's hard to do that when you know you've got the team of goats and the ECRC race team all together here, pushing their way up to the front on that kind of middle to outside lane here, inching their way forward, making up spot by spot. They're now up to about where third place is there with the 33 of Ferdiani, the 42. Kevin Winker still hanging around here up at the front, still hanging on to that lucky dog spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Albert Anderson, when he let the pack by.
Oh, Milner.
Oh, he's going back up on the track.
Anderson.
Oh,
No yellow flag.
he stayed below the line when those cars came around, so.
Go ahead and take
Some people want a yellow, obviously.
Yeah, because that's going to cause a huge thing through this field. Just kind of watching what happened. I think Albert maybe just caught the back bumper. And oh no, Stubblefield, I think, lost his back end due to some damage there.
Great job by Milner to not hit anything. Pretty incredible that he didn't even hit the outside wall when he comes sliding back up the track. That Reese's car does not have any damage on it.
No, it does not. And I'll tell you what, I wish we had a driver cam for that one, because we would have seen him flip-flopping that wheel back and forth like a madman, trying to get that thing under control. And like you said, he did a pretty dang good job of doing it. These cars are you're not really gonna save anything if when you get into a wreck with these cars, but you can kind of control a little bit how bad it ends up, and he did the best he possibly could do in that situation.
Yeah, I think he just slowed down a touch. Anderson, I don't know if he didn't anticipate it and just nudged him a little bit. There was no ill intent there, just a racing deal. As much as I want to see ill intent, we hadn't seen it.
Oh, ECRC kind of splitting up here. Oh, little contact between the 8 and the 751 of Adamson there.
Yeah, it's Adamson having some damage to that back lid now as the field starts to kind of get a little helter-skelter there as well, as the 8 tries to trickle on down right behind his teammate there in the 13. Boy, everybody trying to filter in for some spots here. So the field's starting to break apart just a little bit as we're a little bit past halfway point here. About 25-ish laps through this run. I'm definitely thinking we're going to start hearing call-outs for pit road here in just a couple seconds.
Yeah, great looking out by the 73 of Kelleher. Saw the handwriting on the wall there and knew that if he didn't let the 19 back up in front of him, the 19 was going to be sliding up the track in the next turn off the apron. It was going to cause problems. So the 73 calling out to him, hey, come back up, come back up. You know, he left him some room there. So great heads up driving by the 73 and great communication.
Man, someone who's trying to make up a little bit of room here is the 63 of Dave Holmberg. Kind of got checked up there in that first little incident with Milner, but and has some damage. Looks like he's got some bumper work that's been done, and he's possibly backed into one of those light poles down there at his local Walmart at a time or two.
Yeah, it looks like it's got some whiskey dents on it. Yeah.
Yeah, whiskey dents.
Man, it's those dang poles. They blend them in nowadays. It used to be bright yellow. They don't make them yellow no more. It's, a concrete base that they shorten, so it's even harder to see now once we need to start backing up to it. And as here we go, first round of pit stops underway.
ECRC, they're all
that's okay. Yeah, man, I think we're gonna see a few black flags from that one.
8 and the 13 both posted for too fast entering. That was pretty obvious too, wasn't it?
Yeah, the 8 was still going about Mach 2 while crossing that line. I think he realized he wasn't gonna make it, so rather than lock it up and possibly spin, just get down there to the box as quickly as possible to start serving that penalty as quickly as possible.
It's a
Yahtzee.
40-second deal. That's going to be that's pretty much a lap.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be alone. He's going to have a teammate there sitting with him. There is a difference of about...
Suffering together.
Yeah, there's a difference of about 10 seconds, so that's how much quicker the 8 was going down pit road than the 13. And the 13 was close. He locked it up right there at the line as the 26 and the 73 trickling on down into pit lane now. So I'm surprised we haven't seen that one big mob of traffic come on down yet.
I think these guys are trying to kind of keep it spaced out because, you don't want it to be super crowded down there. Especially with a big field, we'll see guys spinning each other and stuff. Not on purpose, just guys dipping into their pit box and guys dipping out of their pit boxes. As we're hearing half the field call out, I think this is going to be your big gaggle coming right here, Brown. Here they come.
Oh, you are not kidding here.
Already.
Oh, 3 wide coming on down into the pits. Aggressive from the 751 and the 747-33 locking it up just before that timing line. Ooh, boy, oh, boy.
Brown speeding.
Yeah, I figured someone would get tagged out of all of that. Well...
he was in the group ahead of him, I think.
He was, yeah. So he's now just coming on out. Thankfully, he's gonna have the penalty was just long enough that even though he's gonna be essentially down a lap when everything kind of gets all sorted out and around, he's gonna have some help. He's got the 31 of Milner there. Looks like Milner still without any of that damage. Coming on out just fine of pit road. 42 of Kevin Winker leading these guys out of that pit road. So he is technically on the lead lap right now as Mike Adamson holds the number 1 seat here. He's going to have his teammate 747 of Albert Anderson sitting behind him here is 33 of Ferdiani. He's been in the pits for a little bit.
Nicole Scafidi on YouTube, pulling for Winker out there. Thank you for joining us, Nicole. Looks like Mike McCauley has manually disconnected. The driver of the number 81 Cocoa Puffs machine. I think he was also race control, so these guys might be having to get some of the league admins to do some clearing flags work out there, I guess.
Well, he could also, if he races in VR, he might just be switching to a monitor or something. I don't know.
It could be.
Either way, the 751 in the lead right now as the 13 and the tries to work his way on back up here. Paul Durkee trying to get that lap back. Same thing with that 42 of Kevin Winker as 00 Joe Bennett hanging around out here. So there's essentially in this first little group of 5 where people are slowly starting to catch up to him. There's only 2 people on the lead lap right now, and that's Mike Adamson and 00 Joe Bennett. You also then got Chris Klein and Nick Biddy working well together here, trying to catch back on up. You got Joe David, Anthony Williams, and Derek Welsh working together here, trying to catch up as well as we continue to put green flag laps down here from Talladega here this evening. Green flag pit stops. Everybody's hit them. Everybody had them. And so now it's the fight to try to get all group back up to give yourself a chance to win, because I think they're going to be able to make it to the end from here. So while they kind of figure things on out, get everybody all grouped back on up, we'll step away here for some quick messages. But don't you worry, if anything happens, we'll be right on back and get back to this great racing we're seeing here tonight. And welcome back to the race in action here. Final 20 laps of this NTRL Xfinity Series race coming at you from Talladega as we go side by side through these turns. You got that limitless team of Adamson and Anderson side by side, but only one of those cars is on the lead lap, and that's Adamson. Behind them, though, you got the 18 and the 1, Chris Klein and Derek Welsh fighting for some spots there, as well as the 9 of Joe David, 32 and Nick Biddy up here, back all grouped together. Got the 00 of Joe Bennett up here in the mix, as well as the 4 of Anthony Williams, and then you got about a 17-second gap, so not quite half a lap, but starting to almost get up to that point, to back to where Josh Kelleher and Justin Lawson are, and then 03 of Dylan Bryant working together with the 69 of Larry Dickerson. Dave Holmberg's got some people with Mark Collins and Timothy Stubblefield working all together there. As Everybody fighting for some spots, but mainly looking at this, this lead pack being led by Adamson right now. There's only a handful of guys that are like, you got your top 7 up there, but after that, you got 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th, and 21st all up in there as well. So it's a mix between people on the lead lap and people a lap down, and it's about a 50-50 split.
Here comes these teammates on the outside here, plus EV Racing making a run. They got some cars together, and they're trying to take advantage here and pass Anderson.
Yeah, well, they're trying to get that lucky dog spot. Maybe even get one driver on up there. Ooh, good save there
13.
from Double O Joe Bennett. Ooh.
Yeah, 13 contact with the wall right behind him. We're almost 4 wide here.
Hey, we are 4 wide here as we go down across the line. It looks like one of those cell phone signal bars that you see up there as these guys continue to stay 3 wide at least with the 33 of Ferdiani up there against the wall. He still does have that Double O Joe Bennett machine hanging on right behind him.
Feel more sustained 3 wide behind here, a couple of rows deep. Plus EV guys, you got Ferdiani and Double O Joe trying to make the outside line work.
That's a pretty gutsy move by Winker there,
Yeah.
being a lap down and everything. But why not? You're up there with the lead pack. Might as well race.
Try to get it back the hard way, you know?
As we ride around here with the 4 of Anthony Williams, sitting right now in 7th, up 12 spots inside this main group. But you can just see the furious ball of energy that's he's kind of tied up into here. And I mean, we still got a little ways to go, 16 laps. It doesn't sound like long, but man, that for these drivers out here, that can be eternity. It's like the final 2 minutes of a football game. It sometimes takes forever to get through these last 15, but he is starting to slowly run out of time there in 7th, and he's currently kind of getting locked in on that bottom line. Really not much of a options where he can really go.
And look, this is mentally exhausting for these guys. They're having to think constantly about where they want to go. They're having to make very small inputs in the steering wheel. This is mentally draining for these guys, and it's really starting to show now as these guys are really having trouble following a line, following the other car's lines down on the low line there. A little bit of wiggling action there. Fatigue is setting in.
3 wide there. It's going to be more mental fatigue here as they're trying to keep it straight. 3 wide.
And your adrenaline is pumping. This is sim racing, folks. It's not real, but I'm telling you, the adrenaline pumping is real. It does happen, especially when you're close quarters like this at the front of the field.
Not real? I thought it was real.
It's really a sim. I mean,
well, it's not a video game. It's a simulation, right? So it's
Yeah.
a real simulation of real life.
and it's very real to you in the moment. And yeah, your adrenaline does get some pumping. Ooh, wow, a lot of wiggling.
And 31 of Milner almost getting into the 4 there, but man, still on that outside lane, the 33 and the 00 really trying to stay up there with the big boys, but only being 2 cars, it is a difficult task trying to keep this thing 3 wide. But each of these 3 lanes being led by a car that is a lap down. So I can't say that they're not racing for anything here, as all 3 of them are trying to stay either on that lead lap by that nose, or at least, get that lucky dog spot. So we're having ourselves a race inside the race, which is inside this race.
That's a good way of putting it. That's exactly what's going on right here. And guys, I don't want to talk about predictions here too early, but this order is not going to be like this. After they come out of turn 4 on the final lap. I mean, chaos always happens after turn 4 here, and it continues all the way through the tri-oval. And of course, as you talked about, Brown, the start finish line is still 100 yards away at that point. So keep an eye out. Remember how this is right now, because it's not going to be like this at the end.
No. And here's the thing. I think we've done dozens of races here.
Absolutely.
And the leader out of turn 4 has, from my memory, has only won this thing once. So you really don't want to be in the lead.
Well, so here's the question for you then, Turner. Do you not want to be in the lead, or do you just not want to be the lead car? Because like the situation we have now is the outside line getting a big run because Cubby coming out there, the VTEC kicking into that 67 machine, jumping him on out here and getting a big push. So 00 Joe Bennett, he's almost going to be the only car that's going to get clear of all this lap traffic there in the middle lane.
Kicked on the turbo. I'd like maybe 6th to 10th place.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Coming out of
Who's
4.
leading? Is Kelleher still leading that second group? I mean, he's in a good spot too, man. To at least he might pick up a top 5 out of this if history keeps repeating itself here.
Yeah, you're right. Dickerson, he's not too far off of Kelleher there himself with Dylan Bryant in tow. So, I mean, they're in a pretty good spot. Dave Holmberg's got some help there with the 23 and the 79 of Collins and Stubblefield. And then you head on back up here to the front but this is where that question comes in, Adam. Yeah. The two people that are leading the lines right now aren't on the lead lap. So it's not like the leader has any options to try to go up and block or anything. Everything's all closed off.
Somebody's got to turn him then. Get him out of the way now. Yeah, I don't know if we've seen one race where there's lap, non-leaders up front like that. That's going to be.
I don't recall ever seeing that.
Well, I think
for something interesting.
We've seen it where it's been like one car, but he's been kind of in the middle, but he might come into effect by helping push somebody, across the finish line.
Yeah, yes.
But never like this, where we got, Ferdiani and Winker side by side here, guiding both lanes around as the sun's coming back out of the clouds, and right behind them are the two people on the lead lap racing for that one position, and that's Adamson and 00 Joe Bennett.
Yeah, Rebecca Davis saying, "Come on, Stubbs." Brett Winker saying, "Let's go, Winker." And Charisma saying, "You got this, Dad. Number 73, baby." Thank y'all so much for joining us. Hit that thumbs up if you hadn't already. Subscribe if you feel so inclined. Help us out here on AAA Broadcasting. Try to bring as much racing action as we can to you guys here in 2023.
As long as the weather holds together and doesn't ruin our plans, that does happen sometimes. So we're glad to be back. Headquarters got hit with some power problems.
Tree limbs on power lines don't really help things.
Not good.
Hey, we have the technology. Why don't we just bury all the dang lines?
Hell, half ours here are underground. About half.
Yeah. They got halfway through it, and they were like, "Man, we should bury them." And then, of course, it costs money, so it'd probably take over 100 years to get them all buried.
Jessica saying, "Last 5 laps always get me on the edge of my seat." Same here. Same with us. This is just as exciting for us. I'm telling you. I look forward to these big pack races.
So once again, this giant wad of traffic that you see on your screen up here, leading the main group around, you've got the top 7 drivers of Adamson, Bennett, Klein, David, Biddy, Williams, and Welch, all up in here in this main mix. But then you also have all the people from 15th down to 21st. Winker, Ferdiani, Anderson, Stanley, Durkee, Brown, Milner, and Coleman all racing together here.
There sounds like they're coming up on some more lap traffic here.
Yeah, they are.
If they can negotiate them without causing a mess. We've seen that so many times.
And it's a group of Holmberg, Collins, and Stubblefield under that threat of going a lap down here. You're right, this thing is going to get a little dicey. They're going to go all the way up to the wall. Stubbs still missing some bumper parts there. Is a little bobble from the 23. I think he wanted to maybe get that early jump down to make sure he catches the draft here and not lose too many spots and hopefully stay up there on the lucky dog. It's a 67. Oh my goodness.
The 63 clipped him. He wasn't clear. He came down thinking he was going to sneak behind Cubby, and he clipped his quarter panel. Nice save by Cubby.
Oh man, that man needs to get some new pants. That is for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Here we go, approaching the 5 laps to go mark as these guys make their way down this back straightaway here. Is everything getting all tied up, and everything's just, man, oh man, all tight and fast and everything. Goodness gracious, these guys are putting on a show here tonight as they make their way out of turn number 4. So here we go as they head on through the tri-oval. 5 laps left remaining here in this race. Both lanes being led right now by 2 lapped traffic vehicles. Then you got the 00 Joe Bennett currently being scored the race leader there up on that outside lane with the 751 of Mike Adamson. Down on that bottom side, you got Chris Klein there in the 18 tucked in behind Adamson. 747 of Albert Anderson behind that 00 Joe machine as he's fighting to try to get that lap back here, at least stay in that lucky dog spot. He's in a pretty good spot of doing it, being tucked in behind the leader there. He's also got some 26 David E. Brown sitting there behind them as well. 9 Joe David stuck kind of on the bottom lane here, but I'm waiting for someone to make use of that turbo tunnel, that middle to high lane. They've been drifting up here, especially going into the kind of tri-oval section. You could easily fit another car down there through the middle.
Yeah, we see that a lot with the trucks, but these Xfinity cars also a pretty good aero package on them. I like where the 4 is sitting right now. Anthony Williams sitting right there and being scored in 6th position. If things go south here, he might have a little bit of a reaction time, just enough to maybe dodge something here, should it happen.
As the 747 of Anderson looked like he tried to maybe make some moves and go out high, but he's going to lose a few positions there. And originally what was in a pretty good spot of trying to stay in that lucky dog spot, he now loses it. And now 67 of Cubby, he's got a pretty good chance at picking up that lucky dog now.
Well, the chances are we are going to have a lucky dog event, but these two may be involved. This is where all the main racing is, so there could be some mayhem here as we come into these final laps. Just, going off experience.
Yep. Indeed, with 3 laps left to go. But you want to know what's going to be the fun part? Is if the race were to be the final lap right now in the 42. Oh, no. Here goes 00 Joe breaking free. He's finally clean out of the backdraft of the 33. I was just talking about how we would see a 2-man race between the 42 and the 33 for a full lap here at the end if they'd stayed side by side leading these 2 lanes, but that is all changed up now with the 00 Joe out in front.
Well, 3 of those guys being teammates right there, the 33, the 00, and the 42. So maybe a little cooperation with their teammates, even though they're not on the lead lap. 67 also a part of that team.
And 67 getting a big time push to that 33, trying to figure something on out here with 2 laps left remaining. 00 Joe trying to stay in that spot where he is right now. He's got a good buffer between himself and that 751 of Mike Adamson. There's a solid couple of cars in the way, and not only that, but Adamson is trapped on that bottom side as they enter into the tri-oval section here once again, getting ready to come on down across the line. 1 more lap, no more cautions here this evening This one will end here on this lap. Side by side they go, making their break down through turns 1 and 2. What can these guys who are on the lead lap do to try to figure out how to get out and around and get clear and at least make a charge here? As here comes the 747 of Albert Anderson up on the outside lane. It's the one of Derek Welsh giving a big push for him here, trying to get himself up back onto this podium as Double O Joe continues to get a good push here from that 42 of Winker coming out of turn number 4. Adamson finds some open space there in the middle, making one final break, coming down the final time through the tri-oval, down and across the line. It's gonna be a little too close, but it's 4 wide, and Double O Joe wins this race with Chris Klein coming in second and Adamson coming in third. Oh man, as all helter-skelter was brewing and brewing and brewing, and it has finally bubbled on over.
You could have put a beach towel over the first all of those 20 cars that are right there. That was incredible. That's probably the cleanest finish I've seen at Talladega in forever.
Oh, now they're having a little argument here, but yeah. This will be a controversial little race here. People are arguing. I love this.
What are they arguing about? Like you just said, that was the cleanest finish we've seen in ever.
No. It wasn't per the drivers. They feel like they were getting held up. So, because of the lap cars holding up the other cars, there's a little arguing going on, guys. This could be potentially good for the rest of the season.
Well, yeah, the team plus EV was really working together great up there, taking a page out of Team America's book that we see race in another league. But yeah, they were definitely. Well, Mike Adamson disqualified from the race. What's up with that?
I don't know. How'd that happen?
Derek Welch looks like he disqualified Mike Adamson. Race admin decision. I don't know what happened there. Well, that's interesting. I guess we'll hear about it later.
I'm sure of that.
Joe Bennett out there celebrating.
Yeah, you can see there the 42 of Winker giving him some love taps and whatnot. I'm curious, did that disqualification? It did. It put him where did it put him? Oh, it just straight on threw him all the way down to the back.
It was just explained on the radio that it was because of an outburst on the radio. We don't usually see a disqualification from that. We usually see maybe an EOL for the next race, but he straight up disqualified him.
They got some things to straighten out here. I don't.
There may be some implications from this.
Yeah, so there was fighting, guys.
Oh, well, I believe you, man. You're the one with your ear to the pavement.
Attention. Yeah, I do. I have my ear down. I'm always like got my head on a swivel because I'm afraid, they're going to come after me at some point, Like, I've been clocked from behind before. I know what it's like. You got to always look around, That's what happened there at the end of the race. Everybody's just started, like, backstabbing each other and hollering and screaming. This was great.
Well, either way, we do have some interviews to get underway. And, well, now it's the 9 of Joe David, who's going to be your third place finisher. So let's go ahead and talk with him. Your hard charger of the evening, up 17 spots. The 9, Joe David, picking up the podium finish here. I know there's some kind of craziness going on here at the end, Joe, but talk about a wild ride and interesting finish to this one. This is, I think, one of the first times where, we've seen where lap traffic, wasn't one of the ones that was pushing people to wins, but it was kind of causing some whole cluster issues up there in the main group.
Oh, I agree. We were radio chat was crazy trying to figure out which way to go there at the end, but we all decided just to stick on the bottom, and it worked out best. Me and my teammates both finished third, fourth, and fifth. So it was a great race. I mean, a lot of fun, close counters, tires. We didn't get any tires the whole race, just fuel the whole run. But it was fun.
It's gonna kind of be deja vu next week, as you guys are headed to Daytona to kind of re-rack and stack and kind of do it all over again on a plate track. Not quite as much room there though there at Daytona, but I'm sure y'all's strategy will pretty much be pretty close to this one.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely going to have the same strategy. Try to go out there and pit. Biggest thing we did was we pitted with the right group. Once we made the right pit strategy at the end, we were able to stay up in the front, come from the back, and get up in the front. But man, it was a great race. A lot of good guys here. Love this league, and give a shout out to my teammates Anthony and Nick, and my sponsor Bonefish Boatworks. And yeah, man, I had a great time tonight.
Well, good job. Congrats.
Oh, thanks, guys.
We'll move on up here through the finishing order and talk with the 18 of Mr. Chris Klein now joining us here in the booth. And this is just going to be the talking point. If this happened in real life NASCAR, we'd be talking about this one for about a month here, Chris. But, you know, just it was the race inside of a race going on there in that main group. And, you know, we thought, you know what, it'll figure itself out. We'll see a caution. Well, a caution never came out. We green flag raced all the way back from that first caution on lap 11. And it was causing you guys having to use some of that brain power down there.
Yeah, you know, this league has gotten to be where everybody in this league is so respectful of one another. We try so hard to take care of one another to get to the end of the race and not wreck anybody. And this is what we end up with sometimes. I mean, we had that little scrimmage, I think, after the first caution where a couple guys at the back of the field got together and ended up sideways, and iRacing didn't throw a caution, and we kept rolling. And eventually we caught up to those guys as they broke apart, and we ended up in one big pack and got scrambled together with a bunch of lap cars mixed in with the leaders. And it is what it is. You know, we raced to the end, and did it affect the outcome a little bit? Maybe, but that's life. That's part of racing. You know, you got to deal with what you got. So, you know, Joe made it work, and more power to him. Him and his teammates got him up there and got him to the front and made it work.
I mean, this has been happening in racing since the dawn of racing. You know, teammates are going to help each other out, and it doesn't matter, you know, where in the what am I trying to say here? Where in the field, where in the order you are, if you're next to a teammate, you're going to do your best to help them out there. And yeah, it worked for them. I mean, the Plus EV guys were stuck together like glue there for the last several laps, and it made for some pretty exciting racing up in front.
Yeah, Albert and Adam Adamson. I can't remember.
Mike Adamson. Yeah.
Mike Adamson. Teammates, they were running side by side, pushing each other for a while, and then we kind of split them up, and then they were leading the two lines for a while. You know, they were controlling it, holding and waiting on for that caution to get back on the lead lap without having to use a lucky dog. And, you know, it's just something that you got to deal with, and more power to them. That's what teammates are for. You use every advantage that you got. That's for sure.
Well, you had a good race tonight for sure. Second place. Next 2 weeks, we got Daytona and iRacing Super Speedway. What are your thoughts on that as we head into the playoffs?
I'm pretty sure we're going to do something other than iRacing. That's been the theme for the last few times that iRacing's come up on the schedule.
Okay.
I'm not against that by any means. That track's been a little hectic when we've gone there. Daytona's a little different animal. You know, Talladega is very forgiving. You got a lot of room. Daytona's got a little more tire wear to it and a little tighter confines. You know, Talladega's pretty easy to get away with 3 wide, and even then it's stressful. Daytona, you get 3 wide, and you're going to have to give and take a lot, you know, and here you can get away with a lot more than you can at Daytona. So I'm looking forward to staying out of trouble. That's going to be key at Daytona, you know, and just kind of hanging back and letting the accidents happen and letting things calm down, and then trying to make some moves and get through the laps and get to the end, and then try to get back up front and see if we can't get a strong finish and make it to the next round.
Well, great job out there tonight, Chris. Congratulations on the second place finish. Before I let you go, got any final shout outs or anything like that there, buddy?
Yeah, actually, I want to apologize to DEP. He did all new graphics for all of my cars going into the playoffs and went to load them up tonight into Trading Paints, put them in, and for whatever reason, they're not showing up. So the paint scheme that I ran tonight was something that I haven't ran in years, but have no idea why it's not showing up, and I hate that because I wanted to show it off. So it matches the ARCA car that he did for me a couple weeks ago, so now they should be the same all the way across through the trucks and everything, and was looking forward to showing that off tonight. But thank him, thank Derek, and all the guys that are at NTRL, and just like I said, the group that races in this league is unbelievable. They're just the amount of respect between all the drivers and how hard they try to respect one another and give each other room and race clean and make it fun. I mean, we all do this for fun and enjoyment, and the last thing you want to do is come out here and fight with people and argue and be mad. You want to come out here and give it your all and do the best that you can and not have to worry about being taken out by somebody for making silly decisions. So I'm glad we don't have that in this league.
Indeed. Well, great job here tonight, Chris. We can't wait to see you guys back out here in action once again next week, man. Good luck, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all y'all do.
And with that, we'll move up to tonight's race winner, and it's the man who mastered the chessboard. It's going to be that 00 Joe Bennett coming up with the big time win here tonight. Joe, congratulations on that win, and I got a feeling you probably got some teammates you're going to be thanking here at the end of this one.
Yeah, no doubt. It's been a while since I've been up here with you boys, man. I've been kind of missing it, I had to go ahead and try to take this one home tonight. First of all, Kevin, Paul, Zeth couldn't make it. Got Nathan, and if it wasn't for all three of them right there, I would have never got back to the front, never would have got back to the lead. That was insane. That was a crazy race.
Well, teamwork always is a factor here at these big pack race and plate tracks, and we saw a lot of 3 wide, 4 wide. The team ECRC looked like they were going to be sticking together most of the race, but as soon as they started getting split up, they kind of suffered a little bit as far as track position goes. But you guys up there controlling both of those lines with your team there, it really looked very promising for you there, and it really did turn out well for you. We always joke about and talk about, Talladega, the order the cars come out of turn 4 is not usually the order that they finish in, but that was probably one of the cleanest finishes I've ever seen at Talladega.
Yeah, it definitely was. I was hoping that it was going to be clean. I was hoping that the guys back there weren't going to get into my guys behind me and get into me, push the pusher and all that. So I was a little nervous about that, but it was, I can't remember how many laps it was, but there was a couple laps left, and I know that Albert and Adamson were out there, and I was like, man, we got to do something because they're gonna control that front the entire time. So that's when me and Paul hit the high side, and then Nathan came up behind us and gave us that huge push to get us clear. And once he got us clearing down, and we got up with Kevin right there, man, we were good to go. And then Nathan found his way all the way back up there, so we were all right there in the pack. It was like a protective bubble around me.
That was a beautiful. That was a beautiful turn of events there. Great strategy from your guys and stuff. You guys going to try to kind of keep that up next week? We got Daytona coming up next week. Are you guys going to try to kind of work on that again with the communication and a little bit of strategizing?
Yeah, well, we all had our issues in that race. Kevin got caught up in the wreck, and then Paul got a penalty on pit road. And Cubby got caught up in a wreck as well. And that's usually how it works out for us. We get into our little tiffs at the beginning, and we find our way at the end to eventually hook back up. And make our run to the front. But yeah, it's on these super speedways, it's tricky. Either you want to be in the very front or you want to be in the very back, away from everything. You're in the middle, you get caught up in it. It's rough. It's rough. So front or back, and we're good, and we're sticking together. We're all good pushers. I mean, we all link up. We know what each other's driving habits are, so we really, really work great well as a team.
Well, I gotta mention this as well. Your Jaguars. He stepped away. He messaged me to cover for him. Your Jaguars this year. I mean, they did the best they could, man. The little comebacks and stuff that we saw out of them. I know you probably don't want to talk too much about football, but you got to hand it to them. They actually did a pretty good job. And also, do you have any shout outs you want to get out there before you let you go?
Yeah, well, I'm from Georgia, so I gotta keep my Georgia Bulldogs on their back-to-back national, keep them in there. And then the Jaguars, man, they surprised me this year. I think we might be a little force to reckon with next year once Trevor gets some experience under his belt. But I'd shout out to everybody at NTRL. We have a clean league. Thanks for Derek for running it. I know it's a hassle sometimes. He's been sick lately. We got healthy and everything's good to go again. And shout out to my boys at Plus EV Motorsports. All those guys, couldn't do it without them. And I know Pops wasn't in here tonight. He went to bed early tonight. He's got to work early in the morning. But if he watches this, Pops, this one's for you, man.
Awesome, man. Well, great job out there tonight, Joe, bringing home the big-time race win here at Talladega. We wish you the best of luck here the rest of the season here, buddy, and we can't wait to see you guys back out here in action again next week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for your broadcast and AAA broadcasting, everything you guys do as well, man. You guys are awesome every night.
Thanks, man. That means a lot to us. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right, and so with that closes out the driver interviews for the evening. And Alan, seriously, that was probably one of the most interesting finishes that we had ever seen at a plate track ever, and it wasn't about a wreck. It was about strategies and this, that, and the other thing, and that's the beauty of racing. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got your team working with you up there, and not even on the same lap as you, but that's what it's all about here at these pack racing tracks, is doing whatever you can to help your teammates out. We saw that it was on full display here tonight, and I really enjoyed the finish. I mean, like I was saying, you could have took a beach blanket and threw over, 15 cars or so, coming around out of turn 4. So a lot of 4 wide action. And we didn't see people getting dumped and stuff like we usually see. So, yeah, it was a really exciting finish. I love that last lap.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So while we wind things down here, we will get with DW here in just a second, as he's got our top 10 qualifiers for the playoffs, which start up here next week. But first, let's go ahead and kind of run down where people finished tonight here. First, with Double O Joe Bennett picking up that race win. You had the 18 of Chris Klein with a solid second place finish, followed by Joe David in that 9 machine picking up a good solid third place there. You got Nick Biddy moving up quite a few spots. Looks like he's going to be up 9 on the day, finishing there in 4th. The 4 of Anthony Williams getting a good top 5 finish there as well, up 14 spots. DW himself, Mr. Bogus, absolutely hating these plate tracks, but finds himself up there inside this top 10. So I'm trying to read off of the tiny little print here. Is Dylan Bryant in the 03 picks up a good 7th place finish there as well. Larry Dickerson able to hang on to a top 10 finish, even though he really wasn't in the main pack after those rounds of pit stops kind of snagged everybody on up with some speed and penalties. But solid 8th place finish there for him. The 42 of Kevin Winker able to kind of filter his way back on up through the field with some of that lap traffic, and he found himself inside that top 10 there as well, with Paul Ferdiani in the 33, Mr. The Gambler, finishing this one off in that final 10th place spot.
Yeah, only 8 cars on the lead lap here, but you see a lot of the teammates here working together with their buddies here, and Nathan Stanley, one of them there with Team Plus EV. Cubby will finish in 11th place. 12th is America's driver Albert Anderson in the 747. The 26 car, David E. Brown, also 1 lap down, finishing in 13th place. 14th, Dave Holmberg in the 63. Mark Collins, Mac in the 23, finishes in 15th. 16th, Scott Milner in the 31, Reese's Machine. Stubblefield here. Let's see. Tim Stubblefield in 79 finished in 17th place. 18th, Paul Durkee in the 13 had some trouble earlier with some contact. Started in 9th. He'll finish in 18th place tonight. Brandon Coleman in the 8, his teammate there, will finish in 19th place. Rounding out your top 20 here, Justin Lawson, their other teammate there, in 19th. ECRC looked strong early and just couldn't stay up there at the front there, and they'll all finish right there in the top 20, though. 73, Josh Kelleher finishes in 21st place. Michael McCauley in the 81 Cocoa Puffs car will finish 22nd. And rounding out your field tonight, he started on the pole, got DQ'd late there, Mike Adamson in the 751.
And that is your field here tonight. Before we get to the kind of final announcements and everything, Mr. Derek Welch, I believe you got some names for us here, buddy.
Oh, yes, sir. That was a race, wasn't it?
That was a race.
Yeah, it was a great first regular season here for us here at NTRL for this Super Speedway League. Going Talladega, we had 1 caution tie race. That's crazy. But yeah, I got a top 10 in points. We actually got a 10th place tie between 2 drivers, between Mark Collins and Brandon Coleman. They're tied at 10, so we go to the next point. Who's got the most wins? And that 10th place can go to Mark Collins. He's got the only win. So 10 is going to be Mark Collins. 9 is Paul Ferd. I can't say his name. Paul Ferd.
Yanni.
Yeah. 8th, Timothy Stubblefield. 7th, Paul Durkee. 6th, Chris Klein. 5th, myself. 4th, Joseph Bennett. 3rd, Justin Lawson. 2nd, Albert Anderson. And 1st is going to be Dylan Bryant. That's the top 10. Is going to go in the playoffs, and hopefully it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, that indeed. And we look forward to having some fantastic final few races to get this season all finished on up. And we thank you all for tuning in and watching, as always, because we are you are the reason why we do this and have such a good time doing it. Please remember that tomorrow night we're drawing for that keyboard, so be sure to jump on in and don't miss out on your chance to win that beautiful RGB all lit up mechanical keyboard. That, man, it is fancy. And of course, as always, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that way you get alerted every single time that we do go live, as we go live quite often here. As well as, if you do like any of the content, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button, as that's going to help the YouTube algorithm continue to push us out there to people's suggested feeds, and we can continue to grow this fantastic community. We also have to say a big thank you to JP Designs and 3D Prints for jumping on board here excuse me, all season long. Of course, Track Bar Media there as well. Big thank you to Admin Boxx jumping on board here this season as well. Big thank you to you guys over there making some great button boxes. Gotta say a big thank you to, of course, Sim Gear Central as well. Thank you guys. Some great button boxes being made up over there. Same thing with trackdogsracing.com. I believe they're also buying trackdogs.net. Don't hold me to that one. I cannot verify that website just yet, so maybe not go to that one, but the one you can definitely go to is trackdogsracing.com and get yourself some NTRL merch as well as AAA merchandise, as trackdogsracing.com is your premier merchandising supplier choice of that. Big thank you to Davidson Builders as well for the extra replay camera. Didn't get too much use of it here tonight, but we still thank you guys either way for that one. And of course, the NTG trucking community always stepping on up with some great sponsorships there as well. So as previously stated, tomorrow night we got the championship race for the Next Gen Cup Series. And I will tell you where that's being held. That's being held at the good old Miami Homestead race. That's going to be an absolute blast to watch here tomorrow night. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much it for the announcement. So we thank you all for tuning and watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow night for Alan Brown, Alan English, and Adam Turner. We'll see you guys later.
We gone.
See ya.